Where do you think that your team or the company as a whole sees the biggest return on investment? Brilliant.
Kind of mentioned earlier, we had that timely deadline. So UHC was 150 days, and then the rest. We were always on the edge of meeting those deadlines before Brellium came into the picture. So if Friday was that deadline for that 150 days, Thursday we were still working on getting all those patients done. Friday we were, just barely getting all the claims sent out and just hitting that timely deadline. But now that we have Brellium, we are we're months in advance now meeting those deadlines. So I think the earliest deadline is sometime in March, and we're in early or mid-February, and so we are not having the anxiety of missing those deadlines. That's been the biggest one. And monetarily, we're not going to have to hire as many people now to do these audits. So that's been a big that's like a big impact that they've had. We are able to existing teammates to come in and just help us out, because we are just able to train them on how to use Brellium or get them access to the website. We don't have to we don't necessarily need to hire as many people now to do these audits.
How's your experience with Brellium like as a platform so far?
It's been pretty great. I like how you've accepted all of our feedback and taken it into account. Like, I know before we had a hard time filtering in chronological order. Now that has been kind of fixed and remedied, we're able to just knock them out real quick and just kind of set everything up in a type of organization that makes sense to us and Brellium. So that's been helpful. And just looking through right now, I like the ergonomics on it are like the ergonomics are great. It just feels good touching those little buttons and having them like spawn back right away. Everything's really fast, and I like the filter options that you have on the top for your view, audit result view, so I can filter through score, client, provider, audit date, session date. It's it's visually captivating. Looks good. I like how you're able to split up the errors in red and then the what's been passed in green. And I like how you've also included the gray portion of it, which is the billing ID. And I'm not really sure what the billing is. I don't really use that, but I use billing ID and client ID all the time. So just having those three options there, the red error, green, pass, and then the grayed out, just like basic ID information has been super helpful, because we've been able to just copy that billing ID to like that search bar, and that takes us right to the note if ever we need to like really dive into.
How's your experience with Brellium, like support team so far?
Oh man, you guys are really quick to respond to any kind of question we have. Yeah, I'd say if I ever message Max, he's like back at me in 5-10 minutes max. Normally it's just like within a minute. So it's been a pretty great collaborative experience, because there is a very small window that I have to wait. So it's been good.
What you're screening for on the notes?
We're screening for, the main criteria is that there's data attached to the notes. We want to make sure, since these are behavioral analysis, since this is applied behavioral analysis documentation, one of the requirements is that there has to be data to show that there were certain kind of interventions done to kind of prove that we're actually doing what we're billing for. There's kind of a setback where providers, if they're not trained correctly, will bypass the data attachment process of the conversion workflow. And so if we don't catch that right away, they could have, a month's worth of notes without data in them. And then we have to attach that on the back end, which can be a time-consuming process. That's like the one that my team looks out for, making sure there's data in the notes. We also make sure that the notes aren't being copy-pasted, because that can open us up to some risk there if there's an audit. So the copy paste portion of it is important. The good thing about the audits from Brellium is that they are able to catch time errors really quickly. I think that's probably the biggest one. We want to make sure that the timesheet times and the note times are matching up. So if a timesheet says that we provided services from 11 to 1, 8 units, we want to make sure the notes also say 11 to 1, matching those 8 units. So you guys have done a pretty great job at finding those efficiently. That's been like the biggest positive on the billing end. They are really happy with us being able to catch those notes that have those discrepancies. We really don't want to ever send out documentation that looks like we're overbilling. We don't want to send out a timesheet that says 11 to 1, but then the note says 11 to 12. That puts us at an audit risk. When we're screening for that, we're making that a top priority. And there's also minor stuff. We want to make sure that if there's a supervision overlap, that the supervision note is accurate on who the supervisees were and documenting that. We don't want them writing the incorrect names. So that often happens. And we also want to make sure that the 97153 set direct therapy note RBTs are converting indicate that they were being supervised during that time frame. So those are that's the bread and butter there. Time errors, data, making sure everybody is being accounted for, documentation. And yeah, those are the big ones.